So I'm going to start by creating a new InDesign document. So I'm looking to make an 8.5 by 11 portrait mode. And I'm not going to add any columns at this point, but I am going to make the margins ½ inch all the way around. So I'm going to show you how to create guides to start your grid. So I'm going to do, for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to do 5 rows, 6 rows, and then I'm going to make columns, 4 columns, 5 columns, and make sure that the guides are fit to the margins instead of the page. So that's the start of a grid on one page in InDesign. The important thing is it's on a page. It's not on a master page, it's on a page, and I'll get to that later. Okay, and using the W key, you can turn the guides on and off to see how the page looks without the guides. So I want to talk about workspaces now. There's different workspaces that set up different menus around for InDesign. So there's Essentials, and Topography is the one I think is best to use for what we're doing because it gives you pages at the top, which are going to be very important for a multi-page document. There are layers, swatches, and so forth. Text wrap if you use that at some point. Stroke, change the stroke width of strokes, change the gradient if you apply that. And very important is to control the characters and the paragraph styles and settings. And also along the top, you have settings that you can use for various things that are on the properties that are on the page. So to start, I want to show you how you can apply styles to control elements throughout your program, throughout your design. So I'm going to start by creating a page title. Just type that in a text box. And then I'm going to use the typography panel, the character panel, to make it look the way I want a page title to look like. I made it big, so I have to open the container so I can see it. Change the type to Avenir book, which is a more bolder type. And then I click on the character styles, and I created a new style by hitting the little plus button at the bottom of the panel, and I'm calling it page title. So that style is now the page title that I made there is now attached to the page style title. So let's say I change the size of that, and I go to character styles, and I hit page title. It applies the style to that to the text. So here I just copied it. It's page title 2. So let's say I change the settings for, that's the way, let's say I want the page title to be, the style, go back to style, character style panel, and when I right click, redefine style, redefines the style wherever it appears according to the new setting I did for that style. And you can have styles for all the text on your page. So now I'm going to insert some placeholder text into a box that's basically going to be the style for my body type, which is the descriptions and text to go along with my pieces in the portfolio. So I made it Avenir, the style, like changing the type size, keeping the weight the way it was, came there. And now I click the little plus sign at the bottom of the styles panel, and I'll call this body text. So now whenever I have some text and I apply that style to it, that text will take on the body text style. So say I change this to something else just to show you, and use the character panel, go to the character style, hit body text, and boom, it turns it back into the style that I defined for that. So the style is a very, very powerful way to make sure there's consistency throughout the document for these various elements. So now you can do the same thing for paragraphs. So here I want to make my paragraph spacing. So I added a paragraph break in the middle of my text there. And I'm increasing the space there in the paragraph panel to the paragraph spacing, increase the spacing. I created a new style in the paragraph style, and I'm calling this body paragraph. So now whenever I apply that paragraph style, here you can see me going back and forth to no style to body paragraph. You can see the change as I apply that style there. So let me delete those two elements on the page. Now let's talk about pages and master pages and how to manage that. So right now there are 3 pages in the document you see there, 1, 2, and 3. The little A there at the top of each page shows that the master page up above there is what's being applied to that page. But the guides I set up were actually for the pages. So I'm going to use the create guides to delete them. You see there I click remove existing page guides. I deleted one page actually. Now I'm going to go up to a master, and I'm going to create 6 rows, 5 columns. And now, so I've put a grid on the A master, and since those 2 pages there, 1 and 2, have the A master as the parent master, you can see now that grid is now on those 2 pages. So whenever I change the grid in A master, that will change on all pages assigned to the A master. I could also put common graphic elements on the page. So here I just drew a rectangle, made it a blue, and make sure you see how A master is selected up there. That's what I'm working on. Okay. So now you can see in those little thumbnails how now that elements will apply to page 1 and 2 automatically. So I'm going to change the color a little bit in the master page, and you can see how in page 1 and 2 that color changed automatically. So you want to set up a master page for all your pages in your portfolio, so there's the common elements will appear in all of them. So if you change something, it changes everywhere. You can add anything to a master page. So here I'm going to put a little header text. Put it up here on the top of the page there. Now if I click on page 1 and page 2, you see it's there because I did it to the A master. Select the A master again, the element. I'm going to change this to some text. Change the text and see that automatically appears on pages 1 and 2 as I click through them. If I make a duplicate spread, which essentially is a duplicate page for our purposes, you can see it duplicates the fact that that page is attached to the A master. I can also make multiple master pages. So I duplicated the A master, and now it's called B master. If I change that, And I move the text there down a little bit. Remember, you see how I've selected B master as the page I'm working on. And I added a rule under there. So I'm going to go to stroke. I'm going to go to stroke, increase the size of that rule, and see B masters there. But if I look on pages 1, 2, and 3, they still have the A master, so I'm not seeing that B master reflected. But if I drag the B master down onto a page, if I click on that page now, you see that that has that master settings. 3 has my B master, and pages 1 and 2 have my A master. I can also change the guides for A master. So I remove existing ruler guides, and now in B master I'm adding some different, making a different grid basically. So now you see there's page 3 has that grid, pages 1 and 2 have the grid from the A master. So I'm going to delete B master page for now and reapply the A master to page 3. So now I deleted all the elements on the A master. So I'm going to do some different things here now. One thing you can do is apply a color to the whole page using the master element. So I pull the container down. I'm going to give it a color. Searching for a background color that I like. Hit OK. And there you can see it's on the A master, and it's automatically appeared on pages 1, 2, and 3 because those pages are assigned to the A master. Here I'm just pulling in the container so it's the right exact same side as the page. So now when I add anything to page 1, 2, and 3, the background's not affected. I can also play with gradients on the A master. Right, so select that container, select the gradient tool, and drag it around, and you can do all kinds of effects this way. Be careful with this. You don't want to overdo it. Gradients should be used in a subtle manner. The point being that anything you apply to that master page will appear in all the pages assigned to that master. Go back to my pages panel, and you can see how pages 1, 2, and 3 have the gradient that I applied to the A master there. Okay. So I got rid of the grading because that's for the purposes of this demo. I don't want that there. And now I'm in the A master, and I'm going to start applying some other elements that might be more relevant to an actual portfolio design. So I added a rule up there. I'm going to increase the size of the rule. See that I'm actually not seeing it because I actually didn't apply a color to it. So there it is. Size is 5 points. Down over here with it selected, I have to switch what I'm controlling, which is the rule color. There you go. The stroke color. And I'm going to give it a color here. And then select the W. It shows me what it looks like without the grid lines. So I'm going to, in my A master, I'm going to put some type, which would be the header element of all my pages, basically. Common element you want on all your pages. Drag it up here. And the thing about all these elements is they should be relating to the grid. Touching on the left, at the bottom of a module, at the top. And then I hit W and I can see what it looks like with and without the grid lines, which is really important to kind of get a sense of how visually it's looking. Now I'm going to draw a rule at the bottom of the page. Remember, I'm doing all this in the A master. Okay. So change the width of that. Click the color, change the color of it with the little stroke color tool there. And that's what I have so far. So here, and then you can see if I click on pages 1, 2, and 3, there are those common elements that I applied to the A master. So now on page 1 itself, I'm going to insert a picture. Okay, this is not in the A master because at this point, because what I want to, each page is going to have a different picture that might be placed differently within the grid. So I'm starting to work on kind of a layout for what kind of layout I want for my portfolio in terms of the images and pictures I'm going to use. What you're looking for is consistency in terms of placement, relation to the grid. And you can apply a stroke around to the edge of the image if you wanted. And if you do that, you should do that on all the images. Be consistent in terms of how you're presenting it. Here I'm changing the weight of the stroke that's going around the container for that picture. Click on the stroke color icon there, and I can change the color of it, the border. I can apply different effects. I can apply a drop shadow, for instance. Once again, though, you got to apply these effects consistently across your whole portfolio. So if you decide to use a drop shadow, then you have to use it everywhere. So I deleted that because what I want to show you now is how to create some templates for your portfolio, depending on the kind of work you're going to bring in. Whether it's horizontal work, is it vertical work? So here I drew a container. I'm going to give it a slight stroke. I'm going to turn down the color of the stroke so it's not that visible. And using the W, I can see what that looks like on the page. And that's on page 1. Not in the master, but on page 1, because this is not something I want to be applied to all the pages. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating a template for a portfolio image that is wider than it is tall. Here I'm inserting some placeholder text for the text that describes my work on that page. You remember those styles that I set up, right? I can go now, I can change this to the way I would like it to look. And then over here, under body text, I redefine the style. So that style now will apply to all my styles that I apply to looking the way it looks right now here. So let me put in the image title area that I want. And so I'm going to click that. I applied the page style that I made earlier. I have to expand the box to make it show. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe I don't want the title to be that big. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to change just the size of the title to make it the title of the piece the size I want it for my template. And by using the styles for character, that means I can apply the style on every page where I put a title in, and it'll always be consistent throughout the whole portfolio. Here I'm playing with the placement a little bit, size. Remember it, and it always has to relate to the grid on the left side, hitting that margin. And then I'm going to redefine the style. And now my page title will always be consistently that look when I apply it to any text in the rest of the document. Now I'm going to work on a subtitle. So I duplicated the title piece. And for my template, I'm just going to write in subtitle. Of course, that subtitle needs to be smaller. So I made it smaller, get about the kind of size I wanted there using the character panel. I'm just playing with the relationship of the title and subtitle to the rest of the other elements on the page in terms of visual hierarchy, spacing, so forth. So now I create a new title, new style, using the plus thing. I'm going to call it subtitle. And it's, since I had that text selected, that's what the subtitle style is now. So there's the start of a template for a piece which is more horizontal than it is vertical. Notice that the text is within the four column rows in the grid, and so is the image. So to make another template that may be used for a different kind of image, I've duplicated page 1. And so page 2 now is the same thing, but I'm going to change this around because not all my work is going to be horizontal necessarily. So I want a template for different work, the different aspect ratio. So here I'm going to assume, let's say, that the image area is more vertical than it is horizontal. Notice how the image area is hitting the grid lines, and I'll pull this text in. The W key so I can see what it looks like without the guidelines. Frankly, what I'm thinking now is that, you know, I don't like that gutter and that space there, so I'm going to do something kind of radical. I'm actually going to change the grid on me to increase the gutter space, the space between the modules, the grid modules. So I just counted the rows and columns, so I can sort of, I'm in the A master now, and that's where I'm changing the grid. And you might get it right the first time, but I've decided I want to change my grid a bit. So create guides, I hit remove existing ruler guides to get rid of the ones that are there, otherwise I would just draw on top. So I had 5 rows, 5 columns, but I want to increase the gutter size. Here I'm going to go up to 1/4 inch, 0.25 inch. Hit OK. Now what's going to happen if when I look, and so I actually made a new master and did it on there, and I apply that master, the B master, to my page I did before. Now I'm adjusting the spacing of the elements based on the new grid. So I duplicated the A master and I worked on the B master. So I still have the A master, But then I drag the Beadmaster onto this page template to adjust my elements on the page for the new grid I set up. And I just dragged it to page 1. Now I have to adjust this based on the new grid. Hit the W to see how it looks without the grid lines. And I'm deciding I want to play with the weight of the title. So page title, you got that there. Redefine style, there you go. It actually changed back to, well, I won't get into that anyway. So I fixed that. Subtitle is now bold because it's also dependent on page title there. See where it said based on page title? So I'm going to change it back to book weight. And now I'm good there because I changed the style for that. So I duplicate spread down below, creating essentially now when I want to actually make a page with actual content, I take the template I need to use, I duplicate it, so now page 3. Actually, I'm making, sorry about that, what I'm doing is I'm making a new template for 3 images across. So I duplicated template that was on page one of the other pages, and now I'm manipulating the elements to get it the way I want to look for a page template which has 3 individual images I'm going to bring in, making them work onto the grid. Adjust the text onto the grid, hit the W to see how it looks. Another element that I might want for each page is a list. Could be a list of techniques, a list of tools, whatever. It's going to be a useful style to have, basically, to apply to a list. So I just type that into that container. Change the weight of the list text. Now I'm going to apply bullets to the list. The little area in pink is just showing that the bullets are being applied by the bullet tool and not typed in by text. You don't see it when you go to W and look on the page to see what it looks like without the guides. So now I have to create a new style. Call it bullet list. Now I'm going to work for this template. I'm going to work on having sort of a paragraph header. You'll decide what various elements you want on your pages. But these are all the various the visual tools, text tools, typography that need to have at your disposal depending on the page setup and how you need to describe the work. So I'm going to make that bold. Play with the size of it a little bit. Remember to keep in mind the visual hierarchy of these elements. Create a new style. Called paragraph header. Remember, the style is based on whatever thing is currently selected when you create a new style. And I'm going to make it not based on the body text. That way, if I change the body text, the paragraph header will stay the same. There's sort of a dependency, a hierarchy of these. You can have style. One style can be based on another style, based on another style. So there's a trickle down, but we don't want to do that. So I unclick that. So now I'm just playing with the placement of these elements for my template. So now now I'm going to move that down a little bit because I want to add my paragraph header, which I copied and I pasted in. Remember, when I copied that, it took the style with it. So if I change this style, it'll affect all these text elements, wherever is in the document that are dependent on that style. So for each page, I'm looking to where I want these various elements to be on my templates for each type page template, depending on the work I'm bringing in and how I describe it. Same with this one. I'm going to bring the paragraph header in, copied it from the other template page, pasted it in. Notice how everything lines up relative to the grid lines. And no text goes into a gutter unless it's overlapping modules, like where it says subtitle of the piece. But you never start in the gutter. Okay. So I'm just moving these around visually so that there's a consistency in terms of where these elements are in relation to the work for each page. And the grid is my friend. Notice how subtitle of the piece is resting right on top of that grid line. So I'm getting this one. So I copied that in from the other one. And I'm going to get this, nudge this down so the subtitle is resting right on that grid line and it's consistent with all these templates. Click through them. Okay. So now I duplicated page 1. So I want to make an actual page. Duplicate the spread, or duplicate the template I need. I find an image I want to use using the place tool. I go inside that container on the template and I draw it to the right edge. Now here it is bigger than the container. So that's okay. As long as it starts at the same place on every page, that upper left, upper corner there, it can be bigger. And now I'm adjusting the relationship of the paragraph header and the body type for this page. So now I have my template. I have my title where it belongs. It has an attached style, so I'm going to just put in what the real title of this page is. So you have a typo in the up there. See if I fix it. Tweaking the placement of that paragraph header. So I'm going to grab a list because I want a list on that page, which wasn't on the template. So you can have like one template which has all these various elements ready for you to copy at your disposal. And since there's a style attached to them, when you copy it, the style goes with it. So I'm just putting some information about the camera I use for this particular image. So a person at a glance can scan some of this kind of data or general information about the image. And the list you use for your work can be anything you think is relevant. Tools used, principles used, visual principle, design principles. Turn on the W to see how it looks. Click the W to see how it looks. Decided I want it bigger. So now I can use these little icons in the upper right to get it to fill that container, the image to fill the container, rather than having to drag the image box within the container. So once again, the grid's my friend here, aligning, sizing the width of the text in relation to the grid, taking how I did this, putting that where it belongs, up against that top of that grid module. Okay. Well, there's that typo. Took care of that. Taking a look to see how it looks. Looks pretty good. But I think, let's see, something about that bottom rule. So I go into the style, into the master for that page, change the width of the rule, go back to look at the page. It was B master was applied to it, and there it is. You can see that the rule has changed. But you notice that on pages 4 and 5, that the rule thickness did not change. That's because A master is still applied to those pages. Remember, the A master was the first one I did. That had this the grid, which I didn't like the gutter, the space between the rows and columns. So I changed it, as you can see here on this one. So if I was to just drag the B master onto pages 5 and 4, not only do you see the grid change, but you see that rule at the bottom changed. In fact, I don't even need pages 4 and 5 anymore. I could reuse them, but I'm just going to copy template for the new pages. So I'll just delete that, spread, delete that one. In fact, I really don't even need a master anymore. So I'll delete that master spread. Save my document. One thing I want to do is I would like to copy my little list with the associated style onto this page. Drag it below as something I could use here. W. See how it looks. And there you have it. I've got a template for a horizontal image, template for more vertical image, a template for 3 images across, And you can create other templates depending on the work you have and the how it has to fit on the page. But remember, the grid is your friend. Obey the rules, follow what the grid wants you to do for consistency, and make sure all your text pieces are assigned to a style. So if you change it one place, it changes everywhere, and everything is consistent throughout the whole portfolio. So thanks for watching. That's all I have. Take care.